Welcome to How We Grow, an essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz. With your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to How We Grow, the Vacation Rental Show. Guys, I'm Lynell Gordon, your host, and I have a really special guest here today, Scott Jordan. And Scott is a property manager in Maui. And I wanted him to talk a little bit about what was on his heart right now. So tell me what's happening in Maui right now.
Yeah, it's devastating. It's a lot to go through. I managed 30 rental units in West Maui, and I lived right in Lahaina town. So
my goodness.
We were totally caught off guard by the whole fire.
You survived.
It happened so fast, and we got out about 5 minutes before our house caught on fire.
Wow.
And drove out, me and my wife and our 4 kids, and evacuated. And it was definitely a traumatic experience, but we were safe.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't make it out safely,
Right.
which is just devastating.
So what's happening with the vacation rental industry right now? Now, I've been to Maui. I love it. I actually came to see what's that area out where they surf those really big waves and you have to drive? Like
Jaws.
So I drove.
Out in Haiku.
I drove to Jaws, and that was like a bucket list for me.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me what's happening with vacation rentals right now.
So the whole island is suffering, which is the saddest, really sad part of it all. Lahaina, people, if you understand the geography of Maui, Maui.
Why don't you explain so that everybody knows?
Yeah, so Maui it's 2 islands that came together. You have the small part of Maui and then the larger part of Maui where Jaws is.
Yeah.
And Lahaina is on West Maui, the smaller part. And so you have the main vacation spots, West Maui, and then South Maui, which is Kihei, Wailea, and all that area.
Okay.
And just because of the way it's been portrayed on the news and the initial messaging when everybody was in a state of just absolute shock was don't come to Maui, stay away, give us our space. But now everyone's suffering, or there have been cancellations
of course
across the whole island, and you have that trickling down to restaurants, to the local fishermen who would provide for that are all suffering economically if they didn't suffer from the tragedy. But Lahaina itself is about a 3-mile area, really condensed, and that area is gone. But I lost 3 of my 30 rental units. But there really is not a whole lot of accommodations in Lahaina. It's mainly shops and restaurants, and most of the accommodations is north of Lahaina. So,
I didn't know that.
So Kaanapali to Kapalua. And once you pass Lahaina and get to Kaanapali, standing on the beach there, you would almost have no idea that anything happened. But the access has been restricted to get into the other parts of West Maui. So all of our rentals right now are shut down. And we're hoping by mid-October, they've said that they'll allow non-essential travel back in. And at that point, we just hope people will want to come and support us.
Of course they will.
And help us come back, because people lost their homes, and we need to help them keep their jobs so they can recover, or our workforce is all going to leave and have to go elsewhere.
And it's a remote, it's a remote area, for real. So what can we do to help as property managers? What can we do?
Yeah, encourage people to come and visit us.
Okay.
We immediately, it was necessary to give us space for the cleanup, which is still going on. Having roads clogged at that time would have been just really, really terrible.
Would have hindered that.
And we had no power for 3 weeks. We had no cell service, internet, but all of that's restored now, and people are starting to get through that traumatic experience and realize, okay, we need to rebuild our situation, and we can't do that without our guests coming.
Right.
And so, encouraging people to come and visit us.
Okay.
We're all in this together.
No, that's true.
And so, any kind of that is
so you lost 3 out of your 30 houses.
Yeah. Yeah, and those three did amazing because there's really not a whole lot of accommodations in Lahaina. So you have those people that want to be walking distance. They like to stay in Lahaina town. Right. And so those always rented really well. But most people are more familiar actually with Kaanapali and Kapalua, those more upscale resort areas, which are all unaffected, and those are all
they're still suffering.
But suffering economically from what's
built by property managers for property managers. Streamline is a powerful software that gives managers enterprise-level capabilities to drive more revenue and improve operational efficiency. Migrating to Streamline allows property managers to gain functionality while reducing the need for multiple vendors, improving flow by logging into a single system and reducing redundant technology costs. With Streamline, property managers achieve revenue lifts by leveraging our fully fledged communication center, reservations quoting system, revenue management tools, homeowner acquisition CRM, and powerful direct OTA connections. Streamline also has industry-leading trust accounting and report capabilities to give you clarity in an overall company performance. Learn more about Streamline Vacation Rental Software at streamlinevrs.com.
So what's happened regulation-wise? Anything happening there? I read something about the regulations being lightened or suspended in some way, so that there was more housing for people who have been displaced. Do you know anything about that? Am I incorrect?
So, regulation-wise in Maui, there's really distinct zoning on where vacation rentals can operate.
Okay.
And a lot of what you hear for regulations, like, oh, they're taking away all vacation rentals, and that is more, it's in the residential neighborhoods. So
I see.
I have a couple of homes I manage in a residential neighborhood across from Kaanapali that have STR permits, and those are extremely hard to get. You have to own the property for 5 years and go through this whole process. You have to go through a hearing process with all your neighbors, and and it's really hard to get that. But in the resort zoning, where most of the condotels are located, that's all vacation rental area. So they've been encouraging you to open that up for displaced residents. But there's so much inventory. Like, first thing I did was registered all my condos with the Red Cross and FEMA.
Right.
But I never heard back from anybody.
Wow.
And I followed up daily calls, daily emails, and no one from the organization ever got back to me until I got a new email, and she just said, hey, we're so overwhelmed right now.
Yeah.
But they contracted with the larger companies and just housed everybody in the hotels. But it shows you, I mean, even if we were to open every vacation rental, there's so much inventory that compared to the workforce that we couldn't even fill up all our rentals with everyone that needs a home. So there's a lot to go around, but the issue is people finding a place not just for a month, because that's really all we can offer, because I still have bookings and scattered throughout the year, so I can't house somebody for 6 months or a year.
Sure.
But that's what people are going to need for the 2,500 homes that we're
What are you guys doing?
So my wife is due in 2 weeks with a baby.
Oh, wow.
So first thing we did was booked our flight home once we got a bar of service the morning after the fire, after we evacuated, and her sister booked our tickets. I just gave her a credit card with like this scattered connection and said, just book us any flight. And then we had to drive the backside of the island and get around to get out of West Maui and flew out the next day. And then I've just been flying back and forth. Actually flying back there tomorrow from here to just check on everything, and then we are hoping to move back at the end of October.
So you're here in Phoenix?
We're in Utah.
You're in
with
Utah?
Her family.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So we're staying with her family to help us out with the baby coming, and then once she feels recovered, we'll move back. But we need to find new housing. So
well, thank you for sharing and taking the time. I know that people are interested in doing whatever they can to help. So I know Scott Leggett is doing a lot of the he has some efforts going in that way too. Inhabit has put something together, and Scott's trying to do whatever he can to help in that area too. So guys, if you can do something to help, can they reach out to you, Scott?
Absolutely.
How would they reach you?
So you can email is probably the best. Scott, SCOTT, at MauiLifeRealty.com.
Okay.
And, we just hope people don't forget about us, because it's going to be 2-3 years till we're recovered from this.
Right.
Or because of the extensive cleanup, or to get people back in homes and living in the area. So.
Well, if there's anything that we can do, let us know, and we'll get this out to everyone, and I hope they reach out to you. And if not, guys, if you don't get any, you're welcome to reach out to me, and I'll put you in touch with both Scotts.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Lynell. Yeah.
Thanks again.
Appreciate you having me out here.
I really appreciate it. I do.
This episode of How We Grow is brought to you by Streamline. To find out more about how Streamline can help grow your vacation rental business, visit streamlinevrs.com. Make sure to search for How We Grow in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.